Hey guys, Savvy Tech Girl here. I'm here, but I'm having pretty bad technical issues today. So as of right now, my video's not working, and looks like my audio's working. So I hope that is indeed correct. I'm going to sort of work on this a little bit. I just had my Mac computer completely crash on me. So that was the start of a fantastic morning, must I say. Anyways, I'm working on this as I speak, so I hope to get my video on here within the next couple of seconds. All right, guys? Like I say, I've just had nothing but nightmares so far this morning, and I'm still getting nightmares because now I'm getting feedback. All right, so let's give this a try. I think the problem is I am using Windows and not Mac, and I'm using the beta version of Google Hangouts, which I must say I absolutely hate. And why am I still getting feedback? Sorry about this, guys. Really, I thought I would be able to get this up and running this morning, but clearly that is not working for me, is it? So let's get rid of this and let's get rid of this. Now let's see what I've got. I know I need to use a Mac. So I have a beautiful, hey Jem, I have a beautiful MacBook Pro, to which it has just crashed on me about an hour and a half ago. So the rest of my day will be spent doing that. I do have another Mac in my office upstairs. I was going to switch to that, but in the meantime, I have two Windows PCs right in front of me. And yeah, they're not really, at least I'm online anyway. That's better than not being online, right? So let me see if I can just get this video working. Macs, in my opinion, absolutely are better for streaming. No doubt about that, guys. But yeah, I went to turn, well, I was working on it and everything was fine. And then it just crashed on me, so we'll get things figured out here. I don't have Streaming Wind with me today, as you can see. Yeah, you're right, Jim. I'll figure it out. I'll probably figure it out about 3 minutes after the show ends. So I don't have Streaming Wind with me today. Sorry I had to cancel the show the other day, guys. I had a conflict with my scheduling that day, so I switched it to today. Figured that we would have a lot of success, but apparently not. So anyways, I didn't want to cancel again. I figured I could come on here without having the video going. So I don't think that it's a huge big deal, but it would be nice to get my face at least online here. So let's see. So anyways, how is everybody doing? Obviously, we only have a couple of people here so far. But hopefully we get some others in as well. I've had a couple of emails this week in regards to Raspberry Pi again, so I want to go over that a little bit as well. And the other thing is just in technology news in general, the sun's out here too. It's still a little bit chilly, not so warm yet, but the sun is out finally. We had snow last week. But it's going to be time for golf next Saturday. Our golf course that we're members at, Sawmill, in our area here, they are opening finally. Yeah, I saw that Husham was on vacation. Good for him. It's about time he spent some time with family. Nothing is more important than family. He's been very busy lately. So there was Masters is on. Fantastic. That was another thing. What are you guys using to stream the Masters? I really like the British broadcast. So I tend to go towards the British stuff, but Castaway seems to be pretty good for me right now. I've been using that the last couple of days. and have a busy day today, but hopefully tomorrow I can just sort of relax, sit on the couch and watch the Masters all day. I put this very crazy, not like money bet, but still a bet. And yeah, I said Dustin Johnson 13 under, so good luck with that. I don't think 13 under is going to be happening for anybody. But yeah, so anyways, so this week in technology, I don't know if any of you guys are currently using the WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a it's a chat program, so form of communication, and they have actually encrypted everything, which is good news. In the past, there was very minimal protection when it comes to the online chat programs. And BlackBerry always sort of and still take the lead as far as that goes. But WhatsApp have followed suit, and they have made it private. So not only are the one-on-one conversations private now, even group conversations are private. So I would suggest, if you are not currently using WhatsApp, that you get signed up for that. And then you have, at least you know that your files and the information you are sending now has encryption to it. I think that's really important, guys. You need to think about what you put out there online. Yeah, calls as well, everything. Their entire app is now encrypted. So if you're using WhatsApp to communicate with family, friends, then it is now encrypted. Is it like Hangouts? No, it's more like the iMessage program. But it's, or maybe even FaceTime. It's a little bit more like FaceTime, I would say, than Hangouts. But you can get group chats going. You can just send messages back and forth. So yeah, you can get it at the Google Play Store. You can get it actually on the App Store. So go to WhatsApp. They are owned by Facebook, so it's all the same company now. And this week they jumped on board as far as the encryption goes. So I think it's really great news. You keep all your conversations, you can keep them in your history, and to know that that information is encrypted, it doesn't even matter what it is. But if I'm having a conversation with someone, hey Alan, how's it going? It's my Raspberry Pi guy, having some issues this year, or sorry, this week. But yeah, if you're having a conversation with somebody online, you want to know that that information is encrypted. And it could be anything. You're sending somebody your phone number, maybe sending somebody your personal email address, things like that. I think it's really important that that information is encrypted and people aren't stealing it. It's very easy to, in a lot of cases, steal information like that. And that's the last thing we want, right? So yeah, it is. It's very much like FaceTime. You can get it on the iPhone. I run it on my iPhone. I have for many, many years. So it's a lot like FaceTime, but it is it's an Android-based program. And I've used it for many years, never had a problem with it. And I'm going to be using it a lot more now. That it is encrypted. So yeah, so that is a good thing. Like I said, it is open. It is owned by Facebook. So I think they're sort of trying to follow suit, right, with the security and everything that's been happening over the last couple of weeks. So yeah, what else, guys, we're looking at? I've been reading a lot of stuff about drones lately, something that has started to become over time popular pastime for some people. And there have been some laws put in place with these drones. So you need to know that if you're going to be getting into this type of a hobby, that you're going to have to start registering these devices, okay? It's not the type of thing that you can just now decide that you're going to get one of these drones and start flying it around your neighborhoods. And it's the fact that they've got cameras, they're videoing what people are doing. Not that you're going to share that information, but Drones tend to come up in a lot of conversations. You can go into a lot of toy stores even now, a lot of online places. That's where you're going to see sort of top selling things. Just be very careful if it's something that you're going to get into. You want to make sure that you're covering yourself. I know a lot of people are saying how they don't like them going through their neighborhoods and stuff. So it's just something to think about, all right? And just make sure you cover. You don't want any lawsuits because you're flying around this drone throughout the city and all of a sudden you've got someone sending you letters saying that you're invading their privacy or, you know, things like that. So just be sensible about it. Like I say, it's something that's coming up a lot lately, and I wouldn't want anybody to get into any trouble. Anything else in tech news this week? Anybody have any questions about it? So I know also, I do believe that WordPress is also putting full encryption onto their sites as well, which is nice to know. A lot of these websites, website design companies, or you know, you've got WordPresses out there, you've got Wix out there. Just make sure that when you are creating something where you're a site where you're going to be selling things, that you do encryption on them. Make sure they're secure. Nobody wants to be going in, putting their details in, and it's not a secure site. That's the last thing you want, is someone sending you their credit card information, and then all of a sudden they're knocking on your door because they found out that it is not secure, okay? What else have we got here? Samsung's announced a new DDR4. So they announced that this week's it's increased clock speeds, lowered power consumption, and that's pretty big news. So that came out this week. And what else do we have here? So analysis, this was interesting actually. It's talking about Android OEMs and how terrible they are with updates, right? Now, over the years, obviously Apple have been very good at, you know what, their system is all confined to them. Their phones, they send updates down, it comes through the network, your phone gets it, tells you there's an update, you download it, etc. Right? Android devices work differently than that. There's many operating systems on Androids, and like for example, you've got the Marshmallow Android, but what you don't actually get updates applied the same way. Okay, so you need to keep that in mind, that when you are running an Android device, the updates are sort of more to your level. You have to be very cautious about making sure that you are running the most secure, so the most updated version of any operating system. That applies to anything. That applies from Windows to Mac to Android, all right? And they're really starting to increase focus on security over the past couple of years, which means also they are trying to start to send out these updates automatically. Now, as I say, there's so many different platforms of Android. So, you know, essentially it's sort of like running Windows, Mac, Linux, Raspberry, and so you've got 4 separate ones, and they all run different, right? So you need to remember, if you have an iPhone, those updates are coming in automatically. But if you are running on a Linux device, that type of thing, that you're going to have more user interface with. But you need to make sure that you on current versions. It could, whether it's Kodi, doesn't matter. The more current the version, the better the security is going to be, and that is what's key, right? So keep that in mind. Jim said here, in the streaming world, SPMC has stepped it up recently. Kodi Android guy has taken it over and updates since he fell out with Kodi. Yeah, so again, so let's start talking Kodi. This week in Kodi, seems that there has been a lot of hate again and again. I am not going to get into that. My show involves coming on here. I am going to review add-ons that are good. I am going to talk about builds that I think need to be talked about, and we will share information. and we're going to help each other. There's been a lot of talk over the past couple of weeks. There's certain people that are doing builds that do not want their stuff reviewed on YouTube and blah, 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 right? I get it all. I understand it. I understand why they don't want their stuff on there. And I'm not going to get involved in any of it. So again, I am here to review what I think is good. I am here to answer questions that you guys have. This is here as a help more than anything else, right? So we want to share knowledge, we want to share information, and whether it is to do with Kodi, whether it's to do with Windows, whether it's to do with your tablet, that's what this show is for. All right, so we're going to keep concentrating on that, and we're going to keep away from the drama. And as far as, let's talk about some forks, right? So Kodi forks. What is a fork? We have mentioned it before, but basically a fork is simply a copy of something that is already out there, right? So if you have, let's say you have Kodi and then somebody has XBMC, I know reversed, but that's what it is, right? And it's simply a copy of something. And when you have open source, right? Again, open source is free. And you are able to take somebody or an operating system, something that has been developed, and you're able to put your spin on it. So exactly right. Spectro, a fork of Genesis. SPMC, so the Solus Media Center, which is currently available only in Windows. OpenELEC, that is a Raspberry Pi version. Okay, SPMC, that's an Android, which was developed by Team Kodi developer. Hey Juan, how's it going? These are all forks. All right, so Boxee. Boxee is a fork that was developed for multiple platforms. And a couple of years back, Boxee decided that they were pulling out and they were just going to have their own set-top box. I'll tell you something. I purchased a Boxee when they were first released. I went through 3 of them in about 6 weeks, and that was the end of that. I don't know if anybody has a Boxee, has used them or whatever, but so anyways, that's what a fork is. There are hundreds, well, I'm not going to say hundreds, but there are a lot of forks out there for just the media center itself. So if you don't want to run Kodi, you can run, if you're, like you say, you're using Raspberry Pi, you can run RASP BMC. You can run XBMC, which is still out there. You can run Pulse. There are so many different ones, and that's what the fork is, right? So we have a comment here. So that's what all YouTubers do, Savvy, offer help and advice. Yes, that is correct. Now, a lot of the times you do have to remember that some of the YouTubers, and I do understand where some people are coming from, are maybe screenshotting, getting a little bit more into a little bit deeper maybe than they need to, but you're exactly right. We're just there, we're providing help. It's no different than maybe I'm going to put up a video at some point on my car stereo. Maybe I'm going to do the ins and outs of it. It's made by Pioneer. That's what it's all about, right? It's about me taking apart a Windows computer, showing you guys what's inside. I mean, that's all you know what, maybe it's an HP computer. I'm putting HP's name out there, I'm taking it apart, but that's what it's about. It's about sharing advice, helping people along the way, right? So, and I think Alan may have a question this week about Raspberry Pi, so, or the, and the operating system. So he has had a little bit of issues this week as far as installing the operating system on a Raspberry Pi. And Alan, if you are still there, it would be great to hear what you have to say if you are still around. But it sounded to me, oh, he's still here. Okay, so it sounded a little bit to me as if the actual, maybe the card, the micro SD card was bad, possibly. Usually what happens is you put the, so you get your Raspberry Pi, you put it all together. You need to buy that. This is something that I want to point out to everybody. When you're buying a Raspberry Pi, it doesn't come with anything except the board unless you purchase a kit. So to start off with, if you just order the Raspberry Pi, you're just getting the micro PC. That's it. You're not getting anything else with it. Once he's going to format it again, okay, and I think that's a good idea, Alan, and I'll get into that. So once your Raspberry Pi has arrived, you have a power supply that you're going to use with it, and it's low voltage, between 5 and 12 volts. So it's just low voltage. You're going to need to have a micro SD card. That will not come with it unless you order a kit. If you're buying a 2, you're going to want to either get a Wi-Fi dongle or just use the Ethernet that's built into it. And I think that's it. You can put heat sinks onto them if you would like to. They don't come with a case. You need to buy the case as well, or a case does come with a kit if you buy it. So so you get your board, you have your board in hand, and then you want to take your micro SD card and you're going to put that into one of your computers, and then you are going to download whichever version of operating system you want to use. Now you can order a micro SD card, Knobs new out-of-box software, and that will have Raspberry on it. It will have the Windows 10 on it, probably OpenELEC. And then you can just insert that and it'll come up with a menu. Which one do you want to install? If you don't and you just order a micro SD card that is blank, then what you're going to do is just put it in your computer. You're going to go to the Raspberry Pi site, and download the software. Now on my videos I have shown, so you're going to need to format the SD card. That's the first thing you're going to want to do. And the second thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to write those files to the actual SD card, micro SD card. So it's going to be an APK file in most cases, and then you are going to take that micro SD card, put it into the Raspberry Pi, then power it on and connect your HDMI cable to your TV. And at that point, you should start seeing an installation. But it sounds like in Alan's case, he did not see that. And that makes me believe that he didn't. Either that SD card is bad, which is possible. When you're going to buy these SD cards, don't go for the cheapest, all right? I mean, you don't have to buy the most expensive, but if you're buying these $3 ones, chances are they're not going to work. You can actually, one thing you need to be careful of, I've probably spoken about it before, you can take a USB drive that is 8 gig. You can make it look like it's 200 if you want to. It's not 200, but you can make it look like it is. So when you sell it to somebody, so you go on to eBay or something and you buy this and you install it into you click on it or insert it into your USB drive, it can tell you whatever size, but it may only be 8 gig, right? So just be careful. You may be thinking you're getting a deal and you're not. So, all right. So Alan, yours is 30 gig. You know what? That's another thing. Let me just look something up. I don't know if there's a maximum as far as Raspberry Pi, what size they can take. Raspberry Pi maximum SD card size. I wonder if that's another issue. Let's take a quick look. I don't know if you already looked this up or not, Alan, but it may be. I haven't used one of that size. So let me just check here. Or like I say, maybe you already did look it up. How's it going, everybody? Let's see. Yeah, it's possible. SD card. Okay, so it does say here that cards have been tried up to 32 gig, and most cards seem to work okay. You can also attach USB stick or USB hard drive to provide extra storage, SD cards. All right, so you should be okay with the 30 gig one. I would definitely reformat it and even maybe try a different operating system and see what you get from that. You never know, you might luck out and maybe you'll be able to run it. But anyways, take a look and see what you think. All right, then let me know, like keep me updated because I would like to know how everything is running for you. But I would just maybe try another, put OpenELEC on there, or I know you were doing Raspberry, but just give it a try and make sure. I don't think there's anything wrong with the board whatsoever. I do believe that it's literally just the problem that you're having with the SD card and how it maybe copied the files over. I don't know if they unzipped properly. That could be an issue as well, right? So yeah, so keep me posted and let me know how it goes. Camera working, but at this point I'm not really worried about it. All right, so what else have we got going on, guys? So a lot of the questions that I get are the classic, which version of Kodi should I use? And if I were to ask you guys that, what would your answer be? Nice to have you here, Bob. I'm glad you could stop by. This week's sort of a technology disaster on my end. I've had a MacBook Pro crash, and my Windows PC isn't running properly. But anyways, we're making do. Next Thursday, we're going to make up for it. Next Thursday's show will be fantastic. Maybe I'll be sitting on the beach somewhere next week. Okay, so which is the best headphone and mic in 2K and 3K? So are you gonna be using these for making your videos and stuff? And are you using what platform are you using too? You going with Windows or Mac? Because some are better with others, believe it or not. So if you can, now I do, as far as microphones go, I do like Blue. And I'm not using Blue today because for some reason it would not configure with my Windows machine. So I'm using a CAD today. I would definitely say when you are buying microphones and headphones, don't make sure you're spending a good amount of money, okay? That's something that you don't want to be cutting corners on. And a lot of things in technology, especially these days, people are sort of cutting back. Maybe they're, oh, I can get these things from China and they're going to be really good. I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars. But you really need to be careful with that. And you know what? Read your reviews, right? Like anytime I'm going to get some electronics, and it really doesn't matter what it is, I'm going to make sure that I'm reading reviews before I invest the money. I don't want to cut corners when it comes to that, because maybe you're going to get a deal for $70 or something. Now, if it was a regular $300 for $70, go for it. But it's something that you just want to make sure you read up on. Are these going to last? You know, are the drivers out there? Does it work with Windows and Mac? That type of thing. Make sure you sort of research all that before you jump into it. And I would rather see you spend $150 and have to spend, you know, $80 once and then $100 down the road. So I would say that that's the key, right? All right, so back to which version of Kodi should use. Version 16 Kodi with the Gorilla Build is working fine on my Windows 10 laptop. Yep, and the answer to that would be always the final stable version. So don't use development and tests, beta versions. Those are strictly for testing purposes only. So even if you are a beta tester, don't put it on your main machine. I'm a beta tester. I test Windows. I have a machine that just runs beta versions of Windows. I'm not using that for my day-to-day stuff. Do I use it? Absolutely. I go online with them because I'm testing them, right? So I want to make sure that I can report back what's working and what's not working. Am I going to put all my files on there? Nope, absolutely not. So if you want to beta test and you want to be into development, absolutely have that as a separate area. But there's loads of builds out there. Just make sure that whatever you're using, you are on the most stable version. Okay, so you don't want to be running into problems where things are crashing all the time. And if you start to run beta, that's exactly what's going to start to happen. All right. What's the best build? Obviously, I think the best build is sort of up to everybody's own choice and own preferences. I like to just use the basic. You know what? There's only a few add-ons that I really use. So I like to sort of keep it clean cut. Obviously, I am testing builds all the time to see what's out there. But when it comes down to it, it's nice to just sort of have the basic and then just sort of put on the stuff that you want, right? I like the original Convoluence with Kodi. That is obviously, they're changing that skin. Can you still use it? Absolutely. But again, you know, it's all preference, right? It's what you want. And a lot of people try Priceless. Okay, I will put that on today and give it a try. Most of my weekend's going to be devoted to the Masters. So as long as I have the Masters running, I'm going to be happy this weekend. And that's going to be my focus, I think. But I will put the Priceless on, absolutely, and see what that's all about. Does Kodi automatically update? No. All right, so you can't update Kodi. You can update the add-ons, but you need to download the latest version of Kodi from Kodi TV. All right, so again, when it comes to doing updates, that's when you're going to need your Windows or your Mac computer. You are going to need to have the ability to format SD cards or USB, whatever you're going to be using for it. And then you have to be able to download and then copy over the file. So again, you can get that into my videos. But the repos and the add-ons, you can set those up for automatic updates, just not the actual Kodi build, okay? Why add-ons stop working? Well, the reason add-ons stop working is like anything, right? Developers all of a sudden maybe are not developing anymore. Maybe they've decided it's a lot of work. I say that every single week. So maybe they've decided they're not going to do updates anymore. They're going to take it offline, no different than feeds go down, right? So these feeds are being put up by people and then they may get moved. The URLs may change, things like that. And then that way you go to look at it and bang, it doesn't work anymore. But do remember, if you click on an add-on, you click on a link and it doesn't work, maybe click it a couple of times. I know CCloud sometimes does that. And you know what, 2 clicks, 3 clicks, sometimes that feed does work. So many people get frustrated. You know, I hear it all the time. Oh, it didn't work and that doesn't work. And remember, guys, this is free. A lot of time goes into this. People putting this up there for you. So easy for people to sit back and complain. And it gets to me all the time in life in general, right? You do these things, things run smooth, nobody says a word. And then you don't get the thank yous for it. Something happens and now that link's not working, or somebody's decided they're not going to update their add-on anymore, and all hell lets loose. Come on, people. You know what? There's always going to be something out there. Maybe save your comments. Like And that's what I say, I'm staying away from all the drama. That's what I like about this. I don't get questions like that. I don't get emails like that. I get emails with questions about how to do things that aren't working, tablets that aren't booting up. That's what I like to help with. So I really do appreciate everybody that watches this show, everybody that subscribes. I get a lot of good feedback, and that is what it's all about, right? And like I say, we're here to help each other. There are many add-ons that do you have to do more than one click. So yep, absolutely. Make sure you're doing your, just, you know what, think twice before. If you click it and it doesn't load, click it again. If it loads, fine. If it doesn't, then go look for something else. And you know what, maybe if you're using one add-on, try and learn the ins and outs of it. I find a lot of people jump between things and they don't really get to understand what's going on with anything. So and that's another thing. If you know what, you guys have questions about terminology in any technology sense, just ask. Like things like what's a URL and you know, things like that that people don't understand. What's an IP address? Internet protocol, right? What is that? And a lot of tech shows just assume that people know what this is, and a lot of people don't. Any issues with WinRAR going on right now? Yeah, let me go back, Jim. I saw you put something about WinRAR. I'm scrolling back. Okay, Savvy, my WinRAR has all this weird writing in it. When I try and look up when I try and look and unzip a file. Have you seen this before? It kind of looks like Arabic lettering or something. Can't get rid of it even after an install. So, Jim, is it the file that you're looking at that is, because obviously the Arabic lettering is encryption, right? If you get a file that has very odd lettering in it when you're looking at it, that means that it's encrypted. So is the file that you're unzipping actually unzipping and working for you, or is the file that you have downloaded maybe corrupt? Just sort of putting that out there. What do you think? Tell me, yeah, if you can just help me with that. I'm doing that myself, learning about stuff again. Yeah, learning every day is the best way to do it. You know what, I started when I was, I don't know, 10, tearing apart computers, putting them back together. And that's what it's all about, right? That's how you learn things. Okay, so it's on anything I try, all files. And Jim, do they, when you have unzipped them, do the files work correctly or do they not work? That would be my next question for you. Because if it doesn't work, yeah, okay, but Jim, if you were to download a music file and you unzip it, do you get the music or is it just nothing? Yeah, you're going to build your own PC. That's fantastic. You know what, Jim? I would suggest maybe use WinZip or something like that, an alternative to WinRAR, and see what happens. Maybe you could send me a screenshot. I would be interested in seeing exactly what you're talking about, and then send the email to savvytechgirl@gmail.com. Yeah, to me, it sounds like a virus. That's exactly what it sounds like, and that's what concerns me a little bit. When you know what, a little bit of advice about downloading music, and I would use WinZip as well. I do use WinRAR, but you need to be really careful when you're downloading files. All right, so this is another very, very difficult subject, and this is what I am going to explain to you. When you are watching something using a media streaming box, so whether, I don't really mind, I don't care what you're using. I don't care if you're streaming using YouTube, using a Kodi box, using your phone, an application. I'm not really worried how you're doing it. But when you're streaming information, you are not allowed you're not saving those files, okay? So you're not storing them onto your system. When you are downloading files, this is a totally different matter, all right? So if you're downloading music, you're downloading software, that is where you're going to start to get into copyright and all those things. Now, the other thing that happens on these sites, and I try and explain it to my clients when they get viruses. You get a movie that comes out, right? So Star Wars, that was the movie of December. Everybody wanted to see Star Wars. So the first thing everybody's going to want to do is they're going to want to download this movie, right? Because they want to watch it. They want to be ahead of the game. They want to say to their friends, oh, I've got the Star Wars movie and I'm watching it and blah, blah, blah. So you go into these torrent sites, whatever you may be using. Back in the good old days of Napster, I don't know if anybody remembers Napster. I'll get back to you in a second, Jim, and then we'll talk about that. So you go on there and you put in Star Wars, the movie, whatever it may be. Now you get 1,000 hits under that word. So people are all excited and it says high definition, Star Wars, high definition, blah, blah, blah. And the file, they don't look at the file size. So the file size, let's say, is 15 megabytes, okay? Well, if anybody understands anything about size of files, you're going to know that 15 megabytes is never going to be a movie. But it's a virus, right? So you're all excited. So you click this download and oh, great, you've got this movie and you're going to install it or you're going to watch it. And so it downloads in no time because it's a small file. You go to run it, bang, you've got a virus that's installed on your computer. You guys need to be really careful when it comes to things like that, okay? So if you're going on, you're downloading music, and I'm not condoning it, I'm not telling you to do it, I'm just explaining to you what can happen. You know what? I don't mind spending $2 for a song if I go into my iTunes. I don't mind doing that. For the number of songs that I'm going to download, I know that it's safe. I know I'm not going to get a virus. That's what I use. But anybody out there that you guys are free to do whatever you want. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you really need to be cautious of file size, and you really need to understand that a lot of times those files are going to contain viruses, and the chances are maybe you won't be able to start your computer, right? So that's just my advice. Now, Jim is saying that even vendor applications for their business is coming in like that. I'm really unsure why you would be getting that. So I don't know, is it maybe they've put a new encryption in? I mean, I know you can encrypt you can put encryption into your WinRAR files, but why you're getting all the like Arabic type text. Let me see here if I can find anything else. I mean, I haven't experienced that. You know, the only time I experience it is when it is actually a virus. To me, it sounds like it's not a virus. You're not having any problems as far as the vendor apps and stuff goes. So, yeah, you know what, Jim? I would just suggest try WinZip. See how that works for you. Yeah, I think it's now. Where did you download your WinRAR from? That's the other thing. You guys need to also be very careful where you're getting files from. So places like SourceForge, stay away from it. Always get the program from the actual application developer, okay? So if you want something like WinRAR or WinZip, you Google it and it sends you to this site and it says, you know what, like, we've got link 1 over here and link 2 over here, link 3. Go to their website, download from their website, because if you're not, you could probably just be downloading a virus. It's telling you that it's WinRAR and it is not, right? So make sure you always download from a reputable source, and that is the developer, right? If I'm going to download something for Windows, I'm not going to be downloading it from SourceForge or you know, this software like Softopedia, things like that. You want to make sure that you're getting it actually from the source. All right. And so we've got a few minutes left. I don't know if you guys have any other questions. So we've sort of talked about what a fork is. I'm going to again talk about Streaming Underground, Touchtone. Great magazine, guys. You should check it out. Solus is in there, Touchtone is in there. Talking about the Kodi community and things like that. Demetrology this month has been, they did a interview with Demetrology. Again, I haven't been on Husham's show in a little while. I've been busy and I've been working on a few projects and stuff. I keep trying to get into his show, but either my show conflicts or I've got other stuff, but I am definitely going to try and get on there and see everything that's going on. And next week I'm going to have my Mac running, so my video will be back. And I wasn't even going to try and fix all these issues today. I was just wanted to be able to get my show up and running. Again, Kodi.tv, they have a very good community. And that's where you should be getting all of your downloads for Kodi. All right, there are, again, obviously a lot of other sites out there like Kodi News. I'm not sure those are being kept up, but if you want actual Kodi information, go to Kodi.tv. That's where all the latest downloads are. That's where all the latest install packages are, whether you want a Mac, you want a Windows, that type of thing. What is the maximum time for each live stream on YouTube? It's 8 hours. But then you could start it all over again. I know Joe Nobody, I think one day did like 12 or something. So there, yes, there definitely is a limit. But 8 hours, I don't know how long. How would you do a show for 8 hours? I'm not sure that I would want to do an 8-hour show, but that is what your maximum is. Are you gonna maybe try and do an 8-hour show? That'd be good. I'd come and hang out for a bit. I don't know if I'd hang out for 8 hours, but I would hang out for a little bit. I would like Alan to update me on his progress with the Raspberry Pi as well. I'd like to hear how that goes for you. And as far as building your own computer, great idea. It won't be cheap. Do not go cheap on the parts. Remember that when you were building this computer, you're in it for the long run. You want this machine to last you a good few years, right? And if you're building something for yourself, max it out, do the best. I would put an SSD drive in it as your main drive, running your operating system, whatever you choose to run on it. And then have another hard drive as a secondary hard drive for all your data, all your information, because an SSD is very fast. So if you have the operating system on the SSD, which is a solid state drive, meaning no physical parts in there that can quit on you, right? And a regular drive, you have like a paper thin disc that's in there. Then it has like a needle, so pretend like the old LP record players, right? It's actually reading parts. It's constantly moving. A solid state drive does not have any moving parts. And it is a lot faster than the hard drives that we know. So I would suggest, if you are going to build your own computer, put the operating system, whatever you choose, like I said, onto the solid state drive, and then have your files on the other drives. The other thing is, all these drives, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, great, fantastic. And I understand, you know, it's harder to find like 500 gig and things like that now. But if that 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte drive crashes on you and you haven't backed it up, you're in big trouble, right? I mean, a lot of times back, you know what, back in the day, you had a 10 gig or a 20 gig, and if you lost that information, okay, but in most cases you had to use external devices because you didn't have enough drive space, right? You wanted to save that drive space for your programs. All your files were in other locations. I would suggest using cloud backup as much as you can, and then that way you won't lose all your information. All right. So anyways, that's the show this week. Next week, I promise you, will be much better. Wasn't very interactive this week due to the fact we didn't have streaming wind. I didn't have any video. I wasn't going to get into that. And next week I'll be back on my Mac, so I'll be in a much happier place. Thanks guys for watching. We had a few people come out today, and I think we did cover some good stuff. I think we answered some good questions and helped people along the way. So again, you can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/SavvyTechGirl. Obviously on YouTube. If you could like and subscribe to my channel, please, that would be fantastic. You can check out my blog, SavvyTechGirl.com, and you can send me an email, savvytechgirl@gmail.com. So the more questions I get, the better we can make the show, sharing our information. And I'm going to check out some builds this week. So I will be back Thursday. So this Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, back to our regular day. I do appreciate you guys stopping by today. And again, sorry I had to reschedule last week, but we will have a great show next week. Oh, you saw me on the Husham show. That's fantastic. Yeah, Husham sometimes his show gets a little bit busy and all the questions don't get answered. So here, Linda, it's nice that we can sort of have more one-on-ones. And I know Husham gets tons of people in the show, but it's nice here that we're able to answer most of the questions and stuff. All right, so hopefully, Linda, join us on Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, thumbs up, guys. That would be great. I really appreciate that. I appreciate your support. And I do look forward to seeing you this week. You know what? Maybe we'll have a giveaway if we can get... maybe you can get some of your friends subscribing. And if you guys can get some friends subscribing, maybe jumping into the show next week. If we get 25 people in our show watching live next week, so well, this Thursday coming up, I will have a giveaway for one of my media boxes. All right, so we will see you then. I will put the link up on Wednesday. I will send out reminders on Facebook, on Twitter. Twitter is @SavvyTechGirl. And yeah, look forward to seeing you then. Okay, thanks guys. Have a fantastic day. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the Masters. Catch some golf this week. And I'm looking forward to getting out to my golf course, Sawmill in Fenwick this coming weekend. Thanks guys. Have a great day. See you next week.